Hello again, Philly D and the DeFranco Nation Movie Club. Craig the Critic here, day 15 of this wonderful movie club. And I gotta say, I was way too excited when I heard Philly D announce An American Werewolf in London, day 15. That's what we watched today. Okay, can I just say, when I was 10, I got to see this on video. I think it was actually Betamax back then. And this movie, again, as a child, freaked me out. I had nightmares. I thought it was the coolest thing ever. When he transformed into a werewolf and all that stuff. It was pretty freaking awesome when you're 10 in 1982. When Philip DeFranco mentioned that we were going to watch this for the movie club, I thought, it's been like almost 30 years since I've seen this. I do recall it being amazing, but I was 10. And it was the early 80s. So I'm a lot older and wiser and a little more discriminating in my taste of films now. Not much more, but a little. And so I was looking forward to seeing, okay, well, how did this stand up over time? So, hunkered down, got super excited, watched An American Werewolf in London. Ooh! And this movie is still a lot of fun. This really is a fun and funny movie. John Landis went out of his way to blend comedy with horror. It was really a first of its kind. Everything from the soundtrack, which is full of these fun, kitschy, happy feel-good songs like Blue Moon and Moondance, CCR's Bad Moon Rising. You know, they're all very tongue-in-cheek. It was a funny film when I saw it when I was a kid, and it still is a very funny movie. David Naughton, the main character, is a horrible actor. Can I just say? It's no wonder he hasn't really done much since this film. While he did a great job screaming in agony while he was transforming, the rest of the film, he was horrible to watch. But that's okay, because Griffin Dunne is hilarious, and he's such a great actor. Even though he wasn't in it a whole lot, when he was in it, it was a real delight to watch him because Griffin Dunne is a funny man. So let's talk about the movie real quick. Basic concept, a couple of American guys are backpacking it through Europe. They're in England, and they get attacked by a werewolf one night. Griffin Dunne's character gets killed, but David Naughton, the main character, gets attacked and scratched but not murdered. And so he is now infected. And he is bound to be a werewolf the next full moon. So he's healing up in the hospital and trying to figure out what happened. And all of a sudden his dead friend, who is all mutilated with flesh hanging off his face and bloody and gross, comes and visits him in the hospital and explains to David Naughton that the next full moon he'll become a werewolf. And in the meantime, this poor dead guy, his friend, is cursed to walk the earth as one of the undead until the lineage of the werewolf is finally put to an end. Or in other words, hey buddy, why don't you kill yourself before you become a werewolf, and that way I'll be free to die in peace and you won't kill anybody. Well, of course, David Naughton doesn't believe this, it's crazy, and he refuses to accept any of it. Of course, he falls in love with the nurse, you have to have your romance in there, and that's pretty funny actually. Early 80s love scenes, let me just say, are really funny. Anyway, as the film progresses, sure enough, he does transform the next full moon, and that scene, I've got to say, it's so silly looking and ridiculous, but you got to remember, back in 1981 when they made this film, A, there was no such thing as CGI, and B, there had never been anything done like this before. Rick Baker, who is now world-renowned as the greatest special effects and makeup artist in the world, was in on this film and really pushed the envelope for the time. Looking at it now, of course it's silly, but it's still kind of cool, and if you think about it in the context of films in that era, it really is a standout, and it actually had a massive impact, I'd say, on horror films ever since, and really challenged the industry to up their game when it comes to makeup and special effects. So even though it's kind of silly now, it's pretty cool, it's pretty impressive, again, if you think about it in context. So overall, it's a really campy, fun film to watch. It is genuinely frightening at times, although not nearly as frightening as when you're 10 years old. And the special effects are just funny to watch, but pretty cool if you think about it in context. This film goes in the category of classics. It's a genre-defining classic, and so I can't really fault it, even though I probably wouldn't rush to go see it again next week. It was pretty cool to watch it again after 30 years. Be interested to hear what the kids are saying. Anyone who was born after this film was made, I'd be really interested in hearing what you thought about the movie. So give me your thoughts. I'd love some replies, some video responses. Tell me what you thought of this. If you're like under 30 or even better under 20, I'd love to hear what you thought of this movie, because I know you would have a very different perspective than someone like me who's in their mid-30s. So I would love to hear what you thought of this film. Anyway, that's it for now. I'm Craig the Critic, and we'll see you next time. P.S. Tomorrow, Old Boy. If you haven't seen Old Boy, prepare thyself. This film kicks ass. You are gonna freak out. I promise you. Old Boy. Tomorrow. Enjoy.